Now it's we see in our country watch the two countries, Ukraine and Russia, battle it out for 3 years now, and most Americans were most all of us were actually in the assumption that it started in 2022, and of course the truth was out there. It was lurking about there. Most people didn't investigate because they said they interrupted our news basically and give us information that Russia had invaded Ukraine, and so we didn't know the background behind it, and we like I said one time during the Putin interview with Tucker Carlson, he tried to lay out the history of this region, but it's still too comprehensive. And he knew he was straining the attention span of people, and anybody would be kind of put to the test on that. But it's a longer existing problem.
It started under Obama in 2014, and it was we sent Victoria Newland, and that's her name, right?
Right, Newland. Yeah.
We sent her over there, the assistant Secretary of State, and they took out a duly elected president and put in the dancing boy
Zelensky and
Zelensky. And then what happened in 2014, the eastern regions that were ethnically, I guess you would say, Russian and spoke Russian, got upset, and they put them down, and they killed over 14,000 of them.
And that's
14,000 from 2014 to 2022. Like people just like that whole part of the history was erased.
They don't. Yeah, it's like you keep on poking the bear, and when the bear reacts, the only time you get is when the bear reacts. You don't get when the new, not. This is more a nuisance. I mean, 14,000 people dead is not a nuisancing kind of situation.
Well,
it's
not
pretty
only
extreme.
that, they took out the Russian Orthodox Church.
Right.
They told them there was a decree to no longer be able to speak Russian in church,
and they wanted to and the thing is too, a lot of the people of the eastern section who are Russian ethnically, they were sent there by governments before that to live in that region. I think. I mean, I don't think they chose to be on there. They stay there. They were there for generations, since the Second World War. What's that? 3-4 generations already since. So I mean, before that. So I mean. You just don't. Well, we don't want you here anymore. We don't want you speaking the language because we're falling away from the Soviet Union splintered apart. And people predicted this was going to happen when the Soviet Union fell apart. There was a strong cohesion.
Well, I mean, it fell apart, but we helped it.
Yeah, we did.
Meaning the United States and Europe, Europeans helped it to fall apart. I mean, it should have been enough that we supposedly Reagan made them take that. That was a mistake. Oh, sorry. That was a mistake, in my opinion. It's taking the wall down because you just created a behemoth.
I mean, people don't want to admit that we've had a hand in all this, and they want to sound like they want to always cast, Zelensky as this hero, and we're not, and Vance and Trump are ganging up on him and treat him shabbily and stuff like that. No, they know this guy better than we do.
But that's another thing that I just don't understand the American people, and I don't expect you to explain it, but these people, they're upset at Trump and our president and our vice president for feeling disrespected by a little dictator who come in with his hat in hand in his pajamas to ask for money, and he's going to lay down the law to our president. And they're not upset about that. They're okay with that. The little dictator can come into the United States and try to dress down our president.
I was appalled by that. I mean, just the arrogance of that man. Another thing is too, it's like, and I'm also really puzzled by people who are so outraged that we're not going to be sending troops, or we're going to be less likely to send troops. I don't understand Americans. I guess we've been at the helm so much where we had to take the center stage to clean out everybody else's problems. That's our identity.
I mean, we got problems. I mean, our roads are messed up here in Michigan, and I'm sure they're messed up everywhere else. We've got people. We do have people dying in the streets.
Yes,
I mean, I've seen on the news of people dying of cold exposure in Detroit.
I mean, I'm just sick of the fact that we just got this image of ourselves. We got to be the savior of the planet. We can't have any concern for our own betterment, for our own society, for our own, our social welfare. We don't have to. We should disregard all that because our need is.
Our founding fathers didn't want that.
No, I mean, I don't know if you remember years ago, Pat Buchanan wrote a book. It was supposed to be a republic, not an empire, and that's what we got. We're spread way beyond our borders. There's no possible way we can keep control of anything. Money's going off.
And also the politicians have become the ruling class.
Right.
And Trump is the exception to the rule. What I mean is, look what he did. He let that whole thing, even though it started falling apart with Lazinski, or he let the whole thing go for almost 43 minutes.
Mhm.
He let the news see what was going on. They had up to, it was like 32 of it was a casual conversation. Everything was going well. And then if you look at it, Zelensky got a bug in the ear. And after that, that's when his whole arms started crossing. And then he said the thing about him and JD Vance had the exchange. So I mean, if you're a conspiracy theorist, it was like he got a bug in the ear,
You know,
and
somebody
and saying, "Man, this is going too well. You need to fix this."
I just think it's really cheeky of him to think that he could come here and set the stage and make it his demands, and we're automatically supposed to comply because I guess we're supposed to see him in some kind of heroic position. I don't
I
see.
don't. I mean, he's got a region that he doesn't care about, which is the east. Nothing's happening around where he is. It's in
Mhm,
Kiev, like we talked about the eastern part of Ukraine,
mhm.
where that's where the major fighting's going on.
And
So he doesn't want he wants these people dead anyways, one way or the other.
I can't say I never understood that. I mean, about any politician or anything so slow to respond or try to get the situation stopped when they're hemorrhaging. Their people are dying. I don't
Well, that's the
understand that.
same thing. Is that they just announced that all these cuts, the Doge cuts, they don't want to codify anything until next year.
So they can try to probably reintroduce it or keep it going anyway. All that time. It's just we can't. We got to stop. We can't. We cannot be keep on doing this. I
I'm
mean,
talking about Mike Johnson. He doesn't want to. He's talking about we're going to save the Doge cuts until next year.
yeah,
Why? No, no, you don't want to help out the American people or the people that pay the friggin' taxes. You don't want to give them some money back this year.
no, that's our money.
We got to wait until next year to do it. Why? Why? I just don't understand Congress. It's got to take us 6 to 12 months to do this. They can't just if they wanted to. Remember how fast did they do TikTok?
Right.
How
Yeah, they
fast did they act for Israel?
oh yeah, everybody else gets gets the priority except for our own people, and our people are happy with that. Oh, it's okay. We'll wait. We'll be
But
patient.
Israel was overnight.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, how much money? Okay, no problem. We'll just send those points on the computer screen, to transfer to your account. So yeah, you can buy stuff from us. It don't make any sense to me. I mean, we
No.
got. I mean, and then people, of course, you got people who are social conservatives here. They don't want welfare. They don't want welfare. I'd rather have, if we're going to be taxed, I'd rather have the money spent here where I can see some
Oh, you
benefit
should be.
from
We
it.
should take care of the less fortunate.
Right.
I
I don't
mean,
see any
just
problem with
because
that.
you don't agree with you, not only it's not only welfare. It should be we should be trying to lift people up who are
Mhm.
less fortunate. We should be trying to help people not only with welfare, but just make sure that their schools are run properly. Like in the state of Michigan, I think we're like 42.
Right. Yeah. Out of like,
And
out of,
when you and I were growing up, we were probably in the top 10.
these easily within the top three because I remember California and also I think neck and neck. And they had a huge budget in California. They
And
still do.
but I think that they're up to like I think it's like $15,000 per student.
Okay, yeah, that's I don't understand that. There's other countries I've been in contact, people from who are educated in those countries that had nowhere near that proportion for each student. Nowhere near.
Especially, you don't need to teach a kid. I mean, kids are intuitive with their phone. They're growing up with phones now.
All
They're
right.
growing up with computers. It's not something that you need to teach like they had. They tried. I don't think did we have computer. Yeah, we had computer lab in
Yeah, we had
school, I guess. But you don't need that anymore because these little kids can tell teachers more about stuff than they'll ever know.
yeah. I mean, I've seen kids do editing on TikTok for their moms, and the woman says my kid does it. The 8-year-old kid knows how to do editing and stuff like that. Gets on the computer, does editing. Yeah, that's not something they have to teach at schools. They're doing well at
But
home.
my mom knew if I could read or not. My
Right.
mom knew if I could tell time. She knew that if I knew how to do math or not. I don't know if they even do that. I'm sure they do, but I just don't understand why our educational system is so archaic right now.
It
You,
is.
you know what I mean? It hasn't really had a major change in I don't know 70 to 100 years. It's been the same. They should just go back to what works: reading, writing, and arithmetic, and then have it like in your high school. That's where have it tracks. If you're going to be a tradesman, have a track for tradesmen. If you're going to go to college, have a track for college. You
Right
know
now,
what I mean?
right. Now, another thing is too, always encourage the, and don't try to shove down the throat that they have to go to college to be a success. They don't have to be
No,
considered an intelligent person. You know,
I
that's
don't know what your counselor told you, but my counselor, after I took what was that stupid the punch test? I forget the
mhm.
name of it, but that was supposed to tell you what career field.
Okay.
And my career field didn't need college or the areas that I scored high on. So they suggested that I just take business math and go out and start working. You know
And
what I
that's
mean?
and that is probably a good I mean, you did something like that. You went into the military, so I mean, you got training there, and it was like a, you useful when your career in the military. That was you were trained for that. So I mean, you did that. You basically followed that. It did you well, I think. I mean, I got my experience was basically they put me in industrial arts. I didn't want to be in industrial arts, but I did it for 2 years. Industrial. I did welding for 2 years. I haven't done that since I got out of high school, but I think that I think there's nothing wrong with training people who could don't try to acquire debt when you come out, high school to go to college. You're going to have a hundred
Well,
thousand dollars
luckily,
in your head.
because I was in the military and it paid for everything, I don't have any debt for my education. I mean, I owe my education to the American people.
Yeah, so and you're fortunate. And plus, you were hey, but you really put your butt in the harm's way because of the military
My
called upon you, and
the Out of all the jobs I had, the most dangerous, including the military, the most dangerous one was firefighter.
really, oh yeah, that did make
Because
sense.
every time you got in the back of that truck, you were going to war. Fire, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sort of.
and you don't know who's going to be
No,
lost in there. You don't know who
you
something
could literally go out on a run and not come back.
right. And so I mean, it's like that's no, they definitely are heroic. I mean, those individuals do that heroic. That
You
takes
don't think
guts.
about it when nobody thinks about heroism when you're going to do it. I wanted to do it because I guess it's for the same reason why I wanted to jump out of an airplane.
So just for that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I've you said that before. It's like it wasn't. I didn't look at it as service to my country, patriotic. It just was something I wanted to do. I
But
think
but one thing that happened today that I think is really cool is that Trump announced that a major private investor is going to invest. I think it's $100 billion into making chips in the chips for the processors in the
right.
United States. And with the other investments that we already have, we can capture 45% of the market.
That's tremendous. That's what.
45% going from like I don't know, 10 or 15% to 45%.
And
Be a major leader innovator in the
that's it.
world.
And that's money coming back to in our economy. Not we're shipping offshore like our phones and stuff like that. Like Apple, how much did it could it say it's going to
Well,
sink it?
where's it going to be easier to make sure that things are manufactured in a way that there's no spyware and different things? You don't have to worry about it because the chips are made here in the United States.
Right. There's some things you just absolutely got because of national security and personal liberties. You got to keep manufactured here. And another thing is, I don't know if you affect this, but the chips that you were waiting for, you had trucks planning, waiting to get chips put in because they had a embargo or something didn't come through. They had a bunch of trucks across the river from where we're at, in the old Buick site, who were just waiting for those chips to be installed. So maybe those are saying those kind of chips would also be used, or similar chips would be used to so they don't have to wait that long to get those chips. And that's a tremendous bottleneck in the manufacturing process. I mean, that's it'd be so much of it's a godsend. I mean, I'm really welcoming that. And I said, like, also Apple's also committed to spending billions of dollars here in investment.
Yeah.
You didn't do that under Julian Joe, did they? I mean, what did
No,
you?
because he didn't go out and try to get these people. He's actively recruiting these people. He's making if you're not going to be taxed and you're going to get all these incentives to build your business here in the United States, why wouldn't you take it if you can't get it in another country?
And
Especially if you ran to another country to get away from it.
and we still allow them to sell the product here. We're still making them money. I don't understand that. I mean, they're making money and our money's going offshore, and that trade imbalance is not good for our country. I mean, not that to the level we have. I mean, there's a healthy trade imbalance, I guess, for an economist. I mean, I'm not an expert in that, but I was what I've been told, but not to the extreme levels we got at this point. No. It's got to be
But
reined in.
what did you think of Lindsey Graham coming out against and being really upset? His panties were in a bunch the uh, about the Ukraine's president disrespecting our president. Was that surprising?
Yeah, that did surprise me. I thought he would say. I thought he'd be chastising Vance and Trump myself. I did think that. Yeah, I I was surprised with that because I mean that guy's I mean he doesn't seem to have the America's best interest at heart usually. Not
No,
too. No, I mean he doesn't.
no, he's a what he's always wanting to go to war. Remember, Syria was his favorite for how long?
Yeah, I mean
Everything about Syria. But what about ACLU wants to block immigrant transfers to Guantanamo? I mean, you got some history with the ACLU.
well, see, I would say that these people who are there taking over now, if they're U.S. citizens, yes, I mean taking them offshore, I'd have some issues. That I think I'd want to put a roadblock in that myself. But these are not the citizens of the United States. No,
What's the difference of a way station in Mexico waiting to go be processed or going to Guantanamo? And from what I understand, Guantanamo is pretty nice.
well, see that part I
They
couldn't
have
answer.
soccer fields and different things that they spent like 100 or millions of dollars for the former inmates.
I mean, I would say, like I said, I don't know what the issue there be, but I mean, if there's as long as they're not
But
U.S.
but what I'm
citizens,
saying is that you once upon a time I thought you liked the ACLU, that
I
you were
did.
a card carrying member.
I was a member during the time with the after 9/11 attacks. The trying well, they actually pushed it through. It was failed to stop at the Patriot Act because I realized the broader implications it had on our liberties, and that's what they always do. They use some kind of crisis or create the crisis so they can seize more of your liberties from you, and that's exactly what they did with the Patriot Act. And the guy who was actually down there from Detroit area. God, I can't remember the guy's name. He was a lawyer. He had been belonged to the ACLU. He's the one that actually wrote much of that too, which was appalling. I mean, the power they gave the government after with the Patriot Act and expanded wireless wiretaps and all that other stuff. I mean, so that's the reason why I joined. But then they abandoned that, trying to stop that or the implications of that and try to challenge that. They went towards all gay and lesbian rights, and I had to lose interest in that. I don't think that was that crucial of a. I think I like the broader scale thing of for everybody's rights, not just particular groups. So that's the reason why I abandoned my association with them.
Um, I have a question for you. I know I said that we wouldn't ask questions, but if you were going to describe yourself to a TikToker, how would you describe yourself?
Off the cuff for reconsideration.
I'm talking about political views and different things. What you think of Biden? What you think of President Trump?
I'm well. If somebody might have knowledge of it, I would say I'm a libertarian, to the core on that, But I've also, I mean, like a libertarian, most libertarians, I'm all over the place when it comes to where issues are really important to me. I mean, and so I would say I'm a libertarian, and hopefully they look that up and find out what
I mean,
something.
we've been doing this since 2007 in
Right,
one way or another, mostly behind the scenes. This is the first time I've ever been in front, and
right.
this is the first time that I mean, you've been in front before, but not on a weekly basis like now. But we've had better luck with Democrats than we have Republicans coming through the studio.
Well, yeah, because I think we've seen that happen because they like what we're doing here because it's grassroots. We're not corporate America. We're not the legacy media, and they like the fact we allow anybody to come in, even people they disagree with. And that was the thing that I was always did like about the left. They clung desperately to the First Amendment when they were the outsider, but now when you after 60s, they are the establishment that they are
And
fighting
also,
against.
out of all the money that we've ever gotten, we know we don't ask for money, by the
Right.
way, but the money we did get came unsolicited from Democrats.
Right, because they knew that this had to be underwritten somehow, and we're doing it ourselves, and they thought they appreciated it, and you don't see
Because
that.
I would, I'm not lumping Mr. Moss into. As far as I'm concerned, he's an independent.
You're right, because he's helped us out too, and so in
Yeah,
the same time. So I mean,
but I don't consider him a Republican.
no, he says he's a constitutionalist. That's how he refers to himself as a constitutionalist, and I guess that's why I am. I mean, I believe I value the Constitution. I have ultimate respect for that. Even it might be a flawed document. But God, I wish that everybody else would have that seriously flawed document like we had.
What do you think about Hochul, the governor of New York, offering people who have been laid off by the federal government in D.C. jobs in New York.
Wow.
Would you want to go from Washington to New York?
No, I don't think I would, and I just think that's I don't see how they could have that authority to do that, right? Quite frankly, I mean,
What? That she can't have? She's a governor. Why can't she offer him jobs?
yeah, but man, that's going to be a possibly a massive amount of hiring. I mean, can they withstand that? You know, quite
I
frankly,
don't know.
yeah, it's just I'm not for it. No, I think definitely is politically motivated. I mean, I know I'm against that. I mean, I guess, and that's not the person. That's not what's the other one? Cuomo. I guess.
Cuomo, he wants to run for mayor now
Yeah.
of New York. But Trump says there's no room left for Canada and Mexico to avoid 25% tariffs coming March 4th, and it's mostly over fentanyl.
Well, they didn't want to commit themselves to it like he wanted to, and that was the condition for not implementing the boycott. I'm not the boycott, but the tariffs. So I guess we
But
have to go.
what people don't understand is we're literally the world's piggy bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody comes here to sell their wares. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
yeah, we export. We export, but not as much as we import things from the world. And I'm sure we take things just to be nice. Like Canada, we take their lumber. Like President Trump said, we don't need anything for Canada.
we don't need their dairy, we don't need
No.
their lumber, we don't need, and it's a truth. I mean, basically, it was like we're
Well,
doing
this
it out of being considerate, I guess.
and the same thing for Mexico. They think like I didn't know. I mean, what sense does it make? United Auto Workers, they're in Canada too. We have plants across the border that they work back and forth here in Michigan. But they don't build. They build cars to come back here in Michigan through GM and different things. But they have a 25% tariff on American cars. But they don't make anything. They don't make a car. Is that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, but
The,
basically, it's just limiting their own people. That's what it's doing.
well, it's the same thing. They just said that they're going to do. They're taking American products. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt me if they take American products off the shelf in Canada.
Well, this is just off the top of my head, but okay, they say they're not going to allow their products or they're going to boycott our products or whatever. Guess what? Then each American who wants to disregard that, just buy an extra product of themselves, like a couple other whatever.
I don't think the average person even knows where half the crap that they throw in their grocery basket is made.
No, I mean
I don't look. Do you look?
No, unless
I
it's
just grab what I like. Well, I have Kogels. I always grab Kogels. But
but
other than that, I don't really pay attention. I just know what I like and what I don't like.
well, see, a lot of products I'm thinking of comes from other countries that are like our agricultural based products, like bags of lettuce and spinach and stuff, and all these other things have been recalled because of listeria and E. coli contamination. And a lot of those are because they're coming from other countries, I think, because they're not having to pass muster of the USDA, which I don't know if there's all that good or not. I don't know what the hell the organization, the institution's there for anymore. Because how many recalls you hear each week, of these different products, soups, meats, lunch meats. We figured about last year it was lunch meats. You remember from that one company and stuff. So I mean, where's this stuff being manufactured? If it's in the United States, why isn't its company, the USDA, doing the oversight they're supposed to have of these products to ensure our safety? And that's one institution. Those got to be addressed. I mean, maybe I don't want cuts in them. I want them to have the enforcement power, but why aren't they
But the
doing
thing,
it?
okay, I think, in my opinion, if I was in charge of the world, I think that I would stop all foreign aid to include Israel. Like Rubio just had, I guess he was there over the weekend or what in Israel. He just announced a fast track for $4 billion for aid for Israel to help with their military with Hamas in the ceasefire.
That's okay. I'm just dismayed here. The last I knew, Rubio had been a member of
Well, he's Secretary of State, so
Secretary of State now.
he's going to go places and he's going to give away money.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, it's not like I understand what you're saying, but I don't. It's Trump sent him there. He didn't go there on his own.
I know. I just think I don't understand our desire to please and give everything to other countries while ignoring our own problems.
Well, especially like I said, we have people died in Detroit of exposure to the cold
Right.
over this last winter. Shouldn't why should anybody be dying in America for cold for being in the cold?
No, I don't understand that. We have buildings that are not being used for commercial use. We can actually set up to have rooms and like suites or whatever for families, and we have all it requires.
But
Let's
think
face it,
about it, if they just took that money and just spread it to the states for social issues.
right? Yeah,
I
I
mean, I would rather waste the money here in the states than give it away overseas.
I do too, because let's face it, I like to see the benefit of it. I like to see people here not have the need that's not being met because we're saying, well, pull yourself up by the bootstraps when they don't even have a pair of boots. I mean, but growing up in Flint, like I've seen people, even when Flint had more jobs available, I still had people, I knew people who were living under the poverty line. A lot of it was on their own effort because they didn't do anything or something like that. But the children they have are just victims. I mean, that's one thing I never liked about a lot of the conservatives. I'd like to ever have a job because I think there's a lot of mutual benefits besides having, you know, paycheck. But I don't like the fact that we're just supposed to ignore there's people suffering either, being different or actually mock them for it. I don't like that. No, at all.
No,
I think more money should be spent. I think that's good investment. Spending people. I mean, let's face it. It's a social safety network. Is a reason why if you have that, you're going to have less people dissatisfied with the system and want to bring in another system.
but
I
I just
mean,
don't see why didn't we should take care of the elderly, the infirm, the mentally impaired, the psychologically impaired, and poor people.
right. I,
I'm a poor people. I want to be taken care of, but you know what I mean. I mean that's how you should rate a world power. How they take care of their own people,
that's
and
I
I
would
think we rate pretty low.
I would agree with that because I mean, okay, I don't like socialized medicine, but then again, I don't think let's face it, insurances cost so much. Even employers, people who do offer that as a benefit are put off by that. They don't want to hire more because they're going to have to take this huge portion, and the money is in insurance people's hands, not going directly to the care providers. I mean, so I think that's
But
absurd too.
getting back to Zelensky, why is he so goddamn important that the King of England would have an audience with him?
Well, that's I think that yeah, I just basically think that maybe the king's thinking, well, if I don't help them out, we're got to face Putin or ourselves eventually. I don't think that's the case, but I don't think he's got ambition to take
But I'm
over
just
law
saying,
years.
why is this person so important to the world?
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah, half-assed
He's
people.
not even. If you look at him, does he look like a leader?
No, he
He's a
doesn't.
little teeny tiny guy. I think he's like 5 foot nothing.
And besides, look at it. They make okay. The left would make fun of Ronald Reagan for being an actor. This guy wasn't even. He was a pathetic comedian. He's
But I
not
mean,
all that good of
if
an
you were gonna pick a puppet, let's pick a puppet.
actor. Pick a puppet.
Wouldn't you pick somebody who was aesthetically pleasing, like a Nordic dude? To I mean, because he had, as far as what does he had? He was a comedian, a
Yeah,
gay comedian.
it's like yeah, like definitely. It's like he's definitely crossed the
They
line a
could
lot.
have picked a better person to be president. And I also think that voice that he has is fake because I've heard him talk at other times. He doesn't have that gravelly rah 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 voice when he's talking.
All I know is what that voice has angered me the day when I heard it. Now, of course, I can't speak Ukrainian or whatever his language he's speaking, but according to the translations, he's saying the United States is going to have to, put boots on the ground and fight this war because it's NATO and all this stuff. We're going to have to send weapons and send our people, and our children will be dying in it. I mean, that's arrogance, man. If we don't want to be involved, why are we have to send troops to a foreign, our children, our kids, our family members? Why do we have to?
Going back to what I've said since we started this show is I don't see any American the way things are going right now letting their children be sent to if there were a draft tomorrow, people wouldn't show up
I
because
would
parents wouldn't let them show up.
yeah, it's just when they say they're supportive, Ukraine, basically, well, it consists of putting that little flag or the colors of Ukraine on their Facebook page. I'm behind Ukraine. It's all disingenuous. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. It's symbolic, merely symbolic, and I think it's just stupid. I roll my eyes when I see it. I'm for the United States, okay? And I mean, if you're a Ukrainian person who's living here now and you're a U.S. citizen, I'm for you. You got your people over there. I'm sorry what's going on there, but let's
Yeah, I'm
face it,
not saying it is a bad thing, and it needs to stop. And it would stop if we would stop giving our money to them.
right.
It would stop tomorrow if we just said we're not going to support this anymore.
Yeah, and it's
because the rest of the countries, they don't. Europe doesn't have any money,
no,
so
they
if
don't.
we stop supporting them, nobody else could take our place.
And it's like, yeah, what would happen if somebody threw a war and the United States didn't show up? It just wouldn't be a war, and that's what we do. Oh well, we're going to have to go. We're going to have to defend this principle, which is really marginalized and way back there. But somehow, I guess they still see it. I don't see. I don't understand it. What do we fight for democracy? We're supposed to be proponents of democracy. Well, Zelensky's government doesn't show that. Just like Israel, it's not a democracy. I mean, it has a lot of issues with that being a democracy. It doesn't allow free press. It doesn't allow people to, you can't evangelize in Israel. If you're a Christian, you can't evangelize. It's against the law. So how is that any part of what we consider a democratic form of government? I don't see it, but
I don't
that's,
know, but one thing I do like, I don't, is that Janet Mills, the governor of Maine,
mhm.
is having, she had over 100 protesters, well, more than 100 protesters show up, and they're giving her a hard time. So I don't think she, like Trump predicted, I don't think she's long for the political office.
Yeah, because I don't even know the population of Maine, but it sounds like 100 people would actually be a good side portion of the population, a good representation. I mean, yeah, I mean, these people they just want to challenge Trump, and they're going to put their people in the harm's way for doing this too. I don't understand that. I mean, the politicians, I don't understand. I mean, you're elected to represent people. You told to do that. You have your own agenda. Now we're supposed to we're supposed to look for you as leadership. I think it's just weird. It's
Oh, I'm sorry. It was over 500 or 500 people, and it was organized march against Mills on Facebook. So they'll probably be investigating all the people behind it.
oh yeah, it's
But
like
Mills will be a hero,
yeah.
in the Democrats will probably put her up for president,
Well, go ahead because I
and
don't think
that will be her claim to fame. Is I stood down, or I told Trump no.
I'm just when you bring that point up, it just struck me. It just the left's ability to take a person who basically is nothing and build them up dramatically in using the press into some kind of heroic
Well,
figure.
it's the same thing with Tampon Tim. I guess he's going to run for president.
You didn't like. I don't think you got a hell of a chance there, Tim. Sorry.
Well, he thinks he does. I mean,
He, he,
he got elected governor somehow, didn't he?
yeah, it's. I don't know how people vote for that. I mean, we got Whitmer. I didn't vote for her neither time, but she's
I
here.
did. I have to admit it. I got sucked up in the roads thing.
Oh yeah, we
I
fixed
thought
it.
she was going to fix our roads.
No, that hasn't happened yet, has it?
No,
Yeah,
I,
it's
you see my road. You came
oh,
down
that's
my
horrible.
road.
Oh, that's horrible. I
It
mean, I'm
bounced
serious.
you. It bounced you all around, didn't
I mean,
it?
oh god, that was. I mean, I'm serious. You're hitting the damn roof of the car, man. I mean, the ceiling and roof, whatever, man. Not the roof on the outside. You're thrown. It was pretty bad. It was. My mom would always say you can make a milkshake on that kind of road. Serious. Shake it up. No, but it's like no, I just think that I think Zelensky overstepped his bounds, and I am glad our president and our vice president reacted the way they did because I don't I don't see why we have to be swayed by him. I don't.
I don't know. And the same thing with these FBI files that were supposed to come out against Epstein, or Epstein, the Epstein files or Epstein files were a big nothing, and they're blaming it that the FBI held back. Okay, if you're the AG for the United States and you claim to carry a big stick, how did you get outwitted by Biden's FBI?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
How did you not look at the files before you gave them to the all these influencers that came into the White House to get that binder? Phase one. It was phase nothing.
well, see, the thing is, I heard the excuse was because it's heavily redacted because we want to protect the names of the victims.
But the thing, no, everything that was in that binder was already out and less redacted.
I don't. That was a serious disappointment for me. It really was a serious disappointment. But I also had this gnawing sense that we'll never know who went there or not for sure. We not. There are too many really overly privileged, overly influential people in this country. I
And
mean,
another thing that I like that Trump's doing, he's moved to restore lumber dominance, and is investigating for foreign trade practices with lumber.
hmm.
I mean, he's bringing this up. I just don't understand it. Okay, I understand that you don't like Trump as a person, but how are you not gonna like the benefits of him being our president?
Yeah, I mean, I just think of that today myself, Steve. I was like, okay, we get people employed, we get people who are now living on the poverty line up above it, way above it in a few couple of years, and it's going to take some impact. It's going to be immediate, but there's some that's going to happen down the road. You have that all done. Where's your issue with this guy? You prefer a person who was almost in a vegetative state for the most time when he was in office, and you prefer that kind of approach. You think that's better leadership? I don't know. I don't.
I don't understand either. I mean, what has he done? He hasn't really done anything other than okay, the trans thing. I know that hurt a lot of feelings
Mhm.
in making only two biological sexes. You can still have your own little circus. You just not going to make me buy a ticket to it.
Right. I mean, it's like you don't have to participate. I mean, I just if that's your perception of yourself, fine. Okay, just give me a name I can call you by if I have to interact to you, and go by
Well,
that, and
the
that's
big
going to be the
thing,
extent of it.
the other thing is, oh, he took away all of our rights. Well, welcome to the real world. Now you have just as many rights as I do.
Oh, yeah, it's like
So actually, you had no rights taken away.
yeah, I
You're
just think
just
it's
not a protective class anymore that you wanted to be.
and that's like America. Isn't that
But I think the average trans person just wants to be left alone, like everyone else.
I think I would hope that was everything. I mean, I don't see why they'd want to stick themselves out there and want to draw the attention to themselves. I mean, I don't. I do you do all the straight people walking
Well,
around
I
do
don't
that?
know, like because I worked in mental health, I've dealt with a lot, probably more than anybody ever deal in their lifetime. But I don't know. They're just people when it comes down to it.
Yeah, they just what I don't like is the label. They're willing to destroy careers and
But
people's
but
lives.
the thing is, it's these stupid white women that are doing it for the most part that have nothing to do with it.
They
They
want,
they're they're they have an empty, dried up womb and they'll never have a kid. But so they go and they're rich and they have nothing else to do other than drink wine all day. So they take up and become an activist for something.
that's I hate to say that because I really don't like stereotypes because we're white males, we're always easily stereotyped. But everyone I know that's all these vehement, like these out there people always advocating for this exactly fit that description perfectly. I mean, I've known like five doing mental checklist, and five of the ones I know the most vocal of those people saying this is a wrong and all this stuff we're doing these people wrong fit that bill perfectly.
And they're
They
gonna stand up for these people because they think that they need when they don't.
no, it's what's another thing is too. It's like that's like but white people who are white liberals who actually try to stand up and speak for minorities. I think that's always. I mean, I think they should. The minorities themselves, the people of minority groups, should speak for themselves. I think it's sincerely arrogant to think that you can speak for
No,
them.
because it just hurts them when it backfires.
Right.
And then, come on, man. Like if there was an old guy, if there's somebody speaking up for old white guys
Hmm.
and it backfired, it would just hurt. I don't want anybody speaking on my behalf.
No.
I have a hard enough time doing that on my own.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they might go too far and say, "I don't agree with this." And like, well, let's face it, I'm an American. I'm supposed to go along with whatever America does, and every country we go to war against, I'm supposed to hate. And I have a hard time doing that. I mean, we're got
No, because I don't agree with everything. And again, like you said, you're libertarian. I guess I would be independent because I vote for. I like to find out about the person, and if somebody's a better, if I think the person's the Democrat or independent is better, and I also look at it as chances of winning too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm not gonna throw away my vote, especially when I know it's between two Democrats. I pick the lesser of the two evil.
yeah. See,
And
it's like,
same thing with two Republicans, lesser of two evil. Not just because they're Democrats. What I'm saying is that's what I look at.
well, see, and so when I look at it this way, I mean, there's a lot of things when Trump said, I rolled my eyes. I thought, oh my God, why do you say that? So it doesn't mean I'm on lockstep and I have to justify everything he
Yeah,
does.
because the first time around, it took you a long time to come on board for Trump.
Yeah, because I did not like him. I did not like a lot of stuff I heard about him, and I seen him do when he was still the businessman. He was a big proponent of, I would think, was corrupting the idea of eminent domain. He was all for that. He thought it was fine to stay turn over property to so developers can have it, at a cheap
But you
price.
know, it's the same thing. I don't think he feels the same way he felt about a lot of things the first time around.
Well,
I
see, I
think
think
his eyes are wide open now, and he just wants to make the country better. I mean, how can you have a problem with that?
I I don't understand what's like, and everybody says it's when I remember when they first time they were trying to say it was a racist thing to say, "What make America great again?" means that translates to make America white again. I went, no, I never understood that at all. I mean, well, our country is great, and let's face it, I know a lot of black folks that are severely, severely patriotic. Okay, and they were the ones that lived a bad harsh life and got treated bad in the South.
But I'm just remembering like Frederick Douglass. It was in our history class,
Mhm.
and just portrayed him as a man. I mean, they didn't call him an African. Well, there's no such thing as an African American when I was going to school, but they just called him Frederick Douglass.
One other thing is too, it's like ironic too, because the man who was he was illiterate until a certain point in his life, then become fully educated, and when he read the Constitution, he actually had to go against his mentor, the white mentor, because he actually Frederick Douglass saw the Constitution as being a pro anti-slave document.
But we're the dum dums that put labels on every damn thing. I'm sure Frederick Douglass didn't see the guy. I'm sure he's seen him as white because he could see him,
Right,
but I'm sure that he's seen him as his mentor.
right.
I mean, why do we? That's what we do. We put labels on everything.
That's a big issue in the philosophical realms about the.
Why can't it just be history? Why does it have to be Black history?
Well, see,
I understand why because they want to divide us. But
right.
I'm just saying it's just easier if you just present something,
Well, see,
present the guy as a human being.
Well, see, I'd say that I agree. I don't want to go too far off a tangent, but I always said that we don't shouldn't have Black history, Mexican history, Italian history, whatever. All okay. Let's face it. There's confluence. Everybody met and had interactions, and they had problems of developing each and meet when they met with each other. Didn't meet always go well. That's history right there. There's like it wasn't isolated. It was impactful because there was this meeting of people. These confrontations with each other. That is history. That part is
But
history.
in the military, I'm not going to say there's not people are what there's racist everywhere, but we were all green when it came down to you know what I mean. When we were kicked back, yeah, might go in our little different groups or whatever because we're most comfortable with. That's what anybody's going to do,
Right.
right? You're going to hang out with the people that you know and that you like. But when it comes time, man, some of the best leaders I had were other than white.
I mean,
Some of the people, the sergeant major that I had, I still remember to this day. He was Black, but I learned the most from him, and he liked me, and he took me to the side and taught me a lot.
it's, it,
But I
that's,
didn't see him as a Black man. I
that's
mean, I'm other than he was, but he was just
well,
a great leader.
well, I've had people tell me about George Moss, who does a show from here. They say, I always thought blacks would be on the left, but man, when I hear him talk, he's like he's a staunch
Because
Constitution.
I don't think I know that he knows that he is Black.
Yeah, I'm sure he
But
realizes
I
that.
don't think that when he goes out and he starts talking, you've seen him at the Trump rally.
Oh, okay.
People loved him.
Oh yeah, he was like a celebrity. I mean, he was like people were like coming up to him and talking to him and addressing him first, and they really welcomed him. He said, I remember him saying several times when he used to go to other rallies across when it was a Tea Party and stuff like that. He said the only thing is he had to worry about is getting licked to death because so many people are so like outpouring of real genuine friendship and stuff. He said these. Matter
Because
of
he's
fact,
such a nice guy.
right. And he's like, and so intelligent. When you listen to the man, he knows that. I mean, I don't care. I met him. I think that's ridiculous too. That the left is the problem that's got to one of the race because they always say they're amazed that they meet up with somebody from a race that other than theirs that has intelligence. I don't get so amazed by that
But
because
I don't know. I was exposed to a lot more than the average person just being in the military.
right because it's like let's face it, that's the great unifier. That's a great leveler. I mean, let's face it, it doesn't matter where you come. You could be a rich kid from a white kid from the suburbs. Your commander is going to be some
But
guy who might
yeah,
grew up in a ghetto.
especially it's nice when you either can do the job or you can't.
Right.
That's it. Do you meet the standards?
And
And there
it's
was no, oh, I didn't get it because I was this or I didn't get it because of that. That didn't come to the higher ranks because what they did in the military when I was in there, what they would do is just blindly promote everybody, right? Saying to the next grade, like sergeant first class and above or E7 and above was done at the Department of the Army level in Washington. They looked at your record. So, like I said, they would blindly look and they would promote everybody. And then what would happen is then that's under I don't think it was either Clinton. but one of them, what happened was is they decided that we needed to have certain amount of ethnicity represented in the higher ranks. So what would happen is you could be the top 10%, and they would take the top 10%, and then they would start picking off the white guys
Mm.
to in order to promote what they needed.
So it's a
So
but I
there
mean,
was some in there, but you couldn't do anything about it.
well, I was going to say too that my observation, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's like basically when you go into the military, where are you going to be promoted at? It's clearly demarcated at. You know, like which requirements are
Either you can do
what's
your
that
job or
stuff?
you can't.
Right.
That's how you're promoted. Like I said, the lower ranks from E1 to E6, and then from E7 to E8 and E9. That's well, E8 and E9 is more like a who you know to get promoted in the different MOSs. But what I'm saying is, then it becomes political and racial.
But it's at least with the, initially though, you can get that start. You know, and it's
Oh
that
yeah,
enters the picture. Yeah,
I made staff sergeant in under 4 years. Under no, yeah, 4 years. No, under 5 years.
that's pretty good. That's really
Yeah,
good.
but then I sat there for like another 7 years before I got promoted again.
So yeah, it's just what's the primary concern about that? Because maybe the additional amount of money that requires.
Because you have to go up, you have to compete. You have to have all the blocks checked, and then being so young as a staff sergeant, I didn't have I had enough blocks to make staff. I had everything it took to make staff sergeant, but from that point on, you're competing for those ranks. And
Okay,
if somebody's got more, I call them scare badges than you, and maybe been to war and you haven't been to war, then that's what they go off of.
okay. That's a different. I never knew how they did that. You know, especially after it got to a certain point. I don't know how that was. You know, those were checked off or how that was moved up further. I was always kind of puzzled by that. But laid it up pretty quick. No, I think that someday. Do you think? Well, I don't think we're going to ever have. I don't think we're ever going to have a place in our history or our development in the future where some people are going to be happy with the way things are going and not use the race card or the ethnicity card or the male or female card to
It's
try.
not that okay. We act like I have a power to use a card, or Mr. Moss has a power to use. No, it's the Karens that are using the
Yeah,
card. The Karens who are in power. I mean, and I'm talking about when I say uh, the
the
it's
busybodies.
it's the political class, because they would rather we argue with one another than come together under something and work together for something better. Because if we're all chaotic and running around chasing our tails, they can do what they do. And like Pelosi, I think she's worth $160 million.
Right. And
160 million.
it doesn't boggles the mind. I mean, could you imagine? Okay, I know people who've had a couple $5 million and they live a great life, flying back and forth. You know, jet setters, just I mean, amazing amount of money, and they're never have to worry about any kind of extra emergencies in their life. Obviously, losing loved ones is going to be harsh on anybody, but I mean, other than that, the hit does not take felt so much. But yeah, that much
But
money.
and they're the ones that are talking about we got to do away with these billionaires. And here she has this $160 million and she doesn't have to worry about a thing.
It's like, yeah, why? And another thing is, see, I'm a person who wants to see everybody. I would like to see you have $5 or $10 million in your bank account. I like
Right.
to see my next door neighbor because when that happens, things are going to go well. They're not going to try to find out reasons to try to go against each other. You're not going to have robberies likely if everybody else has got money. I'd love to see everybody successful in lives that they really are. I don't understand why that's so. It sounds hokey, I guess, but I really would like to see everybody happy with whatever they've got in their life. That'd be great. But I mean, that's not a lot. That's not the progressives. Or the politicians. They just want to see everybody angry, and they're going to step in and be their savior. And when you eliminate that role, you're not going to have they're not going to get that get in that role.
It just doesn't make any sense. It never it's not going to be fixed under our lifetime, that's for sure.
No, but I think our country, our world though has gotten better. I mean, we like to be pessimistic, but let's face it, We enjoy good lives. Most of us do in this country and all the European nations because of the the technological advancements, because of money, because of the ability of credit and all that stuff. And there's a downside to it, but let's face it, it's better the lives of everybody. The system we have going on, it's gotten off the rails, and we can't allow the spending we're doing because we'll go down the tubes if we do that. We allow that to happen, and it's a precarious state right now. Anyway, I just think that no,
Um, what are your thoughts on what Mr. Moss talked about today during his show?
well, see,
I heard you chime in a couple times.
well, I think that he had so many points today too. Yeah, it's like I'm
You
trying
can't
to
remember what you talked about?
I'm talking to I'm got my what we just got done talking about in my mind. A lot of it's kind of a crossover. I know that. I mean, he's like, obviously he doesn't like Zelensky's you know, trying to try to force his way to get money from us again in the way he treated our president. No, and our vice president. No, I don't think that. But anyway, it's like I'm just I can't think of anything where it's like God, my mind's getting old, Steve.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I'm for the hard but to remember a lot of things because like I said, a lot of stuff we covered a lot of similar ground. Didn't he's got a little similar. By the way, if you get a chance, watch what's going on with George Moss.
On All
He's
Points TV.
on All Points TV. It's on Rumble. It's on YouTube. He's been doing a show here since 2008, and
Yep.
he is an intelligent, interesting person. He was a educator at the Beecher School District for 39 years. I wrapped up his career for last 2 years of being a principal at the school, and he was a professor of African Studies, Africana Studies at the University of Michigan Flint for several years.
And he is a real chief.
Igbo chief, yep, of it's like Nigeria, I think. In Nigeria, I think it's the country it's in. So I mean, he's not just an honorary. He goes over there every so many years and helps them set the course for their tribe. And I think that's pretty amazing. And
And
he,
every year we ask him, go take pictures, go show us something, and he comes back with nothing.
yeah, we've given him the camera, so he just see things that George gets talking to people, and he just gets he just gets fascinated by people, and he doesn't. Oh, I gotta commemorate this event. I gotta record it, and I wish he did because I mean so much. I wish I could have the cameraman. I wish we could afford a cameraman with a good camera to go along with all these trips because it would make massively good documentaries. I mean, I think we'd be winning awards on that. So if anybody wants to put out the money, putting up the money so you can have a cameraman go along with him next trip, which I don't think he's going to be doing this year, though. Unfortunately, I don't because of the issues going on with the health issues in the family. So he's going to be sad to do that because he loves traveling. I mean, he's been to 20 some nations, I think, of Africa, and there's like what 57, 58 nations in Africa. So that's quite considerable. I mean, most people I haven't been to that many states in the United States here. So anyway, he's pretty interesting.
Okay, well, I think I've ran out of gas. I
I have
don't know
two.
about yours. Okay, well,